The director of the UK's Intelligence, Cyber and Security Agency claims that Moscow's military command was descending into chaos and its ground offensive is appearing to slow. But the Pentagon and NATO insist that Russian forces are regrouping in the east rather than withdrawing from the north. So to tell us more about the state of play in Ukraine, we're now joined by Bill Roggio, who's a senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defence of Democracies. Welcome to you, Bill. Good to have you with us. I want to start by talking about the helicopter attack that we saw on Russian soil today. Now, Kyiv has yet to confirm or deny that it was behind that. What do you make of it?
Yeah, this very likely was a Ukrainian strike. The reports I'm seeing are that there were two helicopters, flew in low, slipped across the border, and conducted an attack. It's not surprising that you could pull off an operation like this. Not surprising that the Ukrainians are able to pull off an operation like this. They've been very bold in their fighting against the Russians. I think they've expertly stalled the Russian operation around Ukraine. And the fact that, their Air Force hasn't been destroyed. There's another thing here, too. Surface-to-air missiles and air defenses are not immune to a strike like this. Helicopters are able to slip in low, very close to the ground and conduct attacks like this. I'm guessing the Russians probably weren't prepared for something like this as well. So it's something, the Ukrainians are showing the Russians their teeth here.
So do you think this brings the war into a new phase? And who do you think has the edge here right now?
In this particular instance, I don't think it brings anything into a new phase. We'd have to see multiple attacks like this to be able to determine if the Ukrainians actually are able to conduct offensive air operations. I would say in the north, we're probably at a stalemate situation. That would be in Kiev and Kharkiv area. Maybe advantage to the Ukrainians at this point. The Russians do appear to be regrouping. They look to be stabilizing their lines. They failed to encircle Kiev. I think this was not the only objective of the Russians, but one of the objectives. But I think the fighting in the east and the south is being ignored. This is key strategic ground for the Russians, and I think the Russians at the moment have the advantage there. The fortunes of war can change, but right now the Russians have been able to take significant territory and do threaten to encircle Ukrainian troops on the line of the Donbass.
I want to ask about weaponry then, and as this war goes further forward, Putin's coffers being depleted by sanctions and at the same time NATO countries pooling weapons together. At a certain point, could the maths just work out that the Ukrainians would have the edge in weaponry?
It's possible. The edge in weaponry to halt a Russian advance, possibly. I'm not sure they're going to have the weaponry needed to drive back the Russians. That's the real question, but we'll see. I mean, in order to do this, the Ukrainians would need more armored forces, more tanks, more armored personnel carriers. They'd need more aircraft in order to conduct offensive operations in areas in the east and south where the Russians do have a military edge. The Russians have not committed the full weight of their military to this operation at this time. They do have a large amount of reserves that they can. Perhaps they don't want to use them in Kiev, but I have a feeling the Russians would be more inclined to defend their gains in the south and east. Fortunes of war change. It's hard to predict how this will play out.
Well, for now, great to have your assessments. Bill Roggio, Senior Fellow at the Foundation for Defence of Democracies. Good to talk to you. Thanks, Bill.